You've heard the headlines. College athletes are finally going to get paid. But what you haven't heard is who's really footing the bill. Schools aren't just tapping boosters or selling more tickets. They're cutting staff, raising student fees, and pulling resources across campus to make this new system work. So let's talk about what's really happening behind the scenes of the NCAA House settlement and how schools are scrambling to pay for it. The House versus NCAA settlement was officially approved this June 2025. It changes everything. Starting this July, which means now, Division I schools that have opted in, that includes all the Power Four conferences and Notre Dame, can pay up to $20.5 million per year directly to athletes through a structured revenue sharing model. The number goes up about 4% a year, and these payments are in addition to scholarships, the NIL deals, and the Alston benefits. And a lot of people are asking, what are the Alston benefits? So real quick, let me break it down. And if you've never heard of it, don't worry, you're not alone. If you haven't been involved in college athletics, you've probably never heard this before. But if your child's being recruited or already is in college sports, this is something you'll want to understand. And here's the simple version. Back in 2021, the Supreme Court ruled that colleges could give athletes extra educational benefits above and beyond what their scholarship covers. These aren't NIL deals, and it's not pay for play. This is strictly tied to school and academics. So what do these Alston benefits look like? The most common one is a cash bonus up to $5,980 per year, just for staying academically eligible, earning good grades, or making progress towards graduation. That's nearly $6,000 a year just for being a good student athlete. Some schools give it out once a year, others split it up by semesters, and it's not just for football or basketball. Men and women's sports can both receive it. Other Alston perks might include a laptop that'll help with grad school or funding for a study abroad. But again, most families will see nearly $6,000 annual payment as the biggest benefit. Every school sets its own rules. Some give the full amount, others don't. So when you're comparing colleges, ask how they handle Alston benefits. It's a game changer, especially for athletes who may not be getting big NIL deals. But here's the part most families, even coaches, aren't being told. That these payments aren't just coming from donor checks. Schools are cutting people. They're raising fees. They're reorganizing entire departments to make this work. And the true cost of paying these athletes, let's get something straight. This is not free money for student athletes. Athletic departments are under immense pressure to reallocate tens of millions of dollars annually. And here's where that money's coming from. Job cuts in athletic departments. Coordinators, support staff, even some assistant coaches are losing their jobs. Job cuts across the university. IT, admissions, marketing, student services, research, and then an increase in student fees. Many schools are raising fees on the general student body to help cover the payout pool. Frozen or reduced facility upgrades. It's not about football or basketball. Many projects are being delayed or canceled. Restructured booster funds. They redirect from awards and facilities towards athletic payments. This isn't just a line item. It's a fundamental restructuring of how college athletics works. So here's some real examples. Texas A&M, one of the first schools to opt in, cut nearly $9 million in athletic expenses just this year. They laid off administrative staff, reduced awards and bonuses for athletes and coaches. They eliminated certain support roles and stopped financial support to booster-related organizations like 12th Man Foundation. But that's not all. They also approved student fee increases across the university to help stabilize the larger financial model. Boston University, staff layoffs across campus. While not a Power Four, BU is feeling the pressure. They recently eliminated 120 positions and another 120 vacant ones across the university, citing budget realignment, federal uncertainty. But insiders say part of the restructuring is to free up institutional funds as athletic models shift towards direct athletic payments. University of Connecticut, they raised over $81 million in projected athletics revenue for fiscal year 26, thanks to new naming rights and donor growth. They've quietly begun administrative restructuring in non-revenue sports. Behind closed doors, it's clear. Schools are prioritizing football and basketball, and other programs are bracing for cuts or roster caps. So what are these schools paying for? Back pay to former athletes, part of the $2.8 billion in the House settlement. Annual direct payments to current athletes, that's up to $20.5 million per year. Projected escalations, payments go up 4% each year through 2035. And administrative oversight, schools are now managing NIL collectives, Title IX compliance, and payout rules internally. So let's do the math. If a school hits the $20.5 million cap in year one and increases it by 4%, that's over $240 million in payments per school over 10 years. And every single dollar of that has to be accounted for, not through federal aid, not through magic, through budget cuts, student fees, and restructured athletic departments. Here's a tough question. If they can barely piece it together in year one, how are they going to sustain this in year 5 or year 10? What happens when donations flatten? What happens when enrollment dips? What happens when alumni start questioning fee increases and job cuts? Some schools are already signaling that non-revenue sports will be trimmed. Others are freezing hiring or merging departments. And let's not forget Title IX. If male athletes receive the majority of these payouts, lawsuits will definitely come. And schools will either expand women's sports or further stretch their budgets. So what does this mean for families? If you're a parent of a student athlete, here's what you need to know. These financial changes do not guarantee your child will be paid. The top 1% of these athletes will see the biggest payouts. Everyone else depends on your roster size, your sport, your gender, and the school's priorities. These pressures may lead to roster limits or reduced travel for non-revenue sports. It's not just about getting recruited anymore, it's about getting recruited to the right school with a sustainable model. Be prepared for more schools to shift recruiting strategies to balance budgets. Now, the NCAA House settlement is a game changer, but the cost is real. Behind every direct payment to an athlete, there's a staff member being laid off, a student paying higher fees, or a program being cut. And that's not hype. That's the reality of how this gets funded. If you're a family navigating the recruiting process right now, you need to understand this new landscape. You just can't chase the logo. You have to evaluate financial strategy, program stability, and long-term commitment. If you want to stay ahead of this massive shift, I break it down every week here on this channel. So download my free 10-step recruiting jumpstart guide. Download the 10 steps to take when a coach doesn't call you after a live event. And if you want to go deeper into the recruiting process, communication, or decision making, check out my full library of guides and courses at keithmondillo.com. Let's stop the guessing and start preparing. I'll see you in the next video.